Hello friends, welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I am your host Tom Downey, here to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, the draft, and the NFL Combine. Two different things here. First up, we'll break down the Combine visits that the Cowboys had that we know of so far, and then some players they could draft based on those who performed exceedingly well. So first up are those Combine meetings. We'll go through the offensive guys first. David Montgomery, Travion Williams. I love that they met with TJ Hockenson. There's no way he ends up being on the board unless they move way up into the first round. Dax Raymond, a sleeper option at tight end. Only one receiver so far, Stanley Morgan out of Nebraska. I think we'll see more receivers come in at various points throughout the offseason. Dalton Reisner, a big fan from producer Brett there. Not sure he's going to be there at 58. Then some lesser-known offensive linemen, Ethan Greenidge, Nate Davis. And then to defense. Not Dalen Mack, but Kingsley Keke, the other Texas A&M defensive lineman. I know many of you guys like Charles Omenihu. He was a Combine meeting. Terry Beckner, and then multiple defensive backs. Johnathan Abram, who would be a fun, strong safety. Juan Thornhill, who we will discuss more in depth here in just a little bit. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who I don't think is going to fall to the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's going to go closer to 28 than he's going to go to 58. Amani Oruwariye, the cornerback from Penn State. And Isaiah Johnson, who we will also discuss. The Houston cornerback, who is a perfect Chris Richard fit. So who is your dream draft pick for the Cowboys in 2019? It is a dream draft pick, so if you guys want to be totally unrealistic, go for it. It's a dream. Dreams aren't always realistic. Let me know in the comments section. A guy like TJ Hockenson would be a perfect fit even with the re-addition of Jason Witten, but there's just no way he's going to be there. Now, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. We are in March. It's March Madness. Now is the time to go bet all kinds of college basketball games you guys can bet on. Use that promo code Cowboys120. It gets you extra money just in case you get a few picks wrong. We'll move now to 10 different players that I want to mention that thrived at the Combine and I think could be logical targets for the Cowboys in the NFL Draft. Of course, no first-round picks, so Montez Sweat not on the list. First up, Justice Hill. 3 years of good production at Oklahoma State. Ran the fastest 40 this year for a running back at 4.4 flat. I think he's a great athlete that's a good fit on day 3 if the Cowboys want a change of pace type back to help complement Ezekiel Elliott. Now, he's not the biggest guy, checks in under 5'10 at 198, but look at the percentiles compared across running backs since really 2000. 94th percentile for the 40, 94th in the vertical, 96th in the broad jump. That man is a very, very good athlete. Now, didn't put up his biggest year this year, split some time at Oklahoma State, but 3 years of at least that production. That's pretty solid right there. The Cowboys would like that. So if he's there, round 4, late round 4, early, or also late round 5, I think he makes some sense for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll stick with offense here, and guys, we've mentioned him many a time before, and I'm still going to stick with it. Andy Isabella. I told you guys he was fast, and you're in a 4.31 40-yard dash. Many people got baited on Twitter because when they ran it, the clock started early, and he checked in originally at like 4.56, and everyone's like, well, I thought Andy Isabella was fast. And then they adjusted the time. It was a 4.31, 96th percentile among receivers since 2000. Not the biggest jumper, not the best three-cone drill. He's a speedster. And by the way, he's not just a slot receiver. Don't pigeonhole him in that. He can play on the outside too. Yeah, he's not very big, under 5'9", under 190 pounds. The dude put up fantastic production this year. He is a fantastic athlete. If you want to replace Cole Beasley and you want to get some speed, pick a guy like Andy Isabella or maybe a Mecole Hardman as well. Another speedster, ran a 4.33 40-yard dash. And like many Georgia players, he was underused in that offense because they didn't like to throw the football. Wait, where have we heard that offense before? Again, I think he's a day 2 option for Dallas. I don't know if he's in play at 58. That's probably more Isabella. But if he's there in round 3, sign me up. Solid jumper, 64th percentile. Again, he's a little over 5'10", about a similar sized Andy Isabella, a little bit taller in the end. And also super, super fast. So if you're going receiver this year, please let's get some added speed. By the way, Hardman can also help out on punt and kick returns. Now, would you be okay drafting a wide receiver in round 2? Obviously, there are other positions of need. Defensive line at end and at tackle, safety, and I know some of you guys want some offensive line help. But would you be okay drafting a receiver in round 2? Give me a 2 for yes, because that's round 2. A 3 if you're not really on the same page there. Let's move to defense then, where most of them came in. How about Renell Wren? An impressive athlete for his size. Now, he's not going to be a great pass rusher. That's okay. Not every defensive lineman who's 200 pounds is. In fact, most are. But he is disruptive. I think he is a logical option for the Cowboys in day 2 if they want to take a defensive tackle. Big boy, checks in just under 6'5", 318. And because he almost ran under 5 among defensive tackles, that's 71st percentile at 318 pounds. That's insane for a man of his size. Really strong bench press and a solid enough 3-cone drill again. When your weight's super high up, above 315, and you're still producing above 50 percentile in your athletic drills, that's impressive. So if you want a defensive tackle who can help play alongside Antoine Woods, alongside Malik Collins, and can also rush the passer just a little bit, Renell Wren is your guy. Next up is Anthony Nelson, who I had not seen much of pre-combine, but he fits the mold of a Cowboys defensive line prospect. He's long, and he's an impressive athlete, and he can play some DT for the Cowboys. Many of you have said you want Charles Omenihu. Can I interest you in Anthony Nelson instead? Because he was a much better athlete than Omenihu ended up measuring in as. 74th percentile, ran a 4.82 at 271 pounds, 87th percentile on the vertical jump, a sub-7-second 3-cone drill. At 6'7", 271, we've seen guys that big who have done a little bit of both for the Cowboys. You could play him at defensive end. I think you could also play him at defensive tackle. And not quite the exact type of player, but in terms of the way he could be used, it's kind of like Tyrone Crawford. That's kind of how you could use him if you're the Dallas Cowboys. A big, long, athletic defensive lineman. Not the elitist athlete compared to defensive ends, not the biggest guy compared to defensive tackles, but the position flex matter. He can do a little bit of both. Now, which need is bigger for the Cowboys? DT or defensive end? Type DT for DT and DE for defensive end. I go with defensive end right now. I thought it was going to be defensive tackles. I thought Gray would have been fine. Lawrence would have been signed by now. Either way, you're going to need to find some more defensive ends. So let's take a look at some players that could make some sense as edge rushers for the Dallas Cowboys. First up is Chase Winovich. Now, there were fears that he was not a great athlete, and he proved those wrong. Now, look, he's not very big. He's only a little bit under 6'3", 256 pounds. But the fears for Winovich was that he was a motor effort guy. And then he ran a 4.59 40. And then he ran a sub 6.95 3-cone drill, both of which are in the 90th percentile for edge players since 2000. And, sorry, he does not jump very well, 20th percentile there. But solid leader, good production at Michigan, overshadowed Rashawn Gary, outproduced Rashawn Gary, and then ran a faster 40-yard dash time. I think that matters for Chase Winovich. So if he's there round 2, round 3, and the Cowboys looking for an undersized guy to fill that Randy Gregory role, I think Winovich makes some sense. I also consider, by the way, Ben Bannigue of TCU. Let's move to another sleeper option here. Max Crosby will stick in the state of Michigan, as it turns out. He tested incredibly well. 2 years of really good production in the MAC. I know it's the MAC, but still. I still think his name is not that known, but he's a possible day 3 sleeper target. 6, almost 5, 255, ran a 4.66 40-yard dash, 26-inch vertical, and a really good 3-cone drill under 6.7. 92nd percentile, 83rd percentile. That's impressive numbers there for that 6.89 3-cone drill. Crosby's a very good athlete. Some of you have mentioned him before to me. He is indeed a sleeper, I think, for the Cowboys. If they wait till round 4 maybe for an edge rusher, maybe Crosby ends up making some sense. All right, folks, as I always do, I am wearing a Mizzen and Main shirt. Go check him out, comfortable.af. You guys are not going to find a more comfortable shirt, dress, or any shirt out there than a Mizzen and Main one. Go check yours out today at comfortable.af. Let's move to defensive back then, and I don't think Dallas is going to go with a round 2 corner. If they were to, Isaiah Johnson is the guy. Former receiver, fits every box for a Chris Richard prototype at corner. He wants tall guys, he wants long guys, and he wants fast guys that can jump. Guess what? That's Isaiah Johnson. 6'2", 208, with 33-inch arms, crosses off his higher threshold of 32-inch arms, ran a 4.4 flat, and can jump out the gym. This is the exact type of guy that Chris Richard would want. I think Johnson moved himself way up into round 2. I don't know if the Cowboys are going to spend a second-round pick on a corner, though. So do you want Dallas to take a corner in the draft? I am fine with it, but I don't want to spend it on day 2. I don't even want to spend a 4th-rounder on it. Yes, down the road, you can't retain Byron Jones and Anthony Brown and then Chidobe Awuzie and Jordan Lewis, but don't spend a premium pick right now. Spend a pick on a developmental guy and see if Richard can make him into a potential starter down the road. Let's talk about safeties then, because the Cowboys might not get Earl Thomas, which is fine. Juan Thornhill had perhaps the single best combine for any defensive backs. When the drills he ran, he did not do the agility drills. He was almost off the charts. The numbers he put up were astounding. A 4.42 40-yard draft, that's 85th percentile, by the way, doing this at 6'2", 205. And then was actually off the charts in the vertical jump and the broad jump. The only dude he's behind is the guy you all know, Byron Jones. That's almost what Juan Thornhill tested as. Now, he's not quite as lanky as Byron Jones is, and maybe isn't quite the unbelievable Olympic-level athlete that Byron Jones is, but Thornhill made himself some money. Now my big question, after putting up very good numbers at Virginia and being a good team leader, is he really going to be on the board for the Cowboys at 58? I lean towards no. It's a kind of a weird safety class. A lot of different people have different guys at number 1. There's Deontay Thompson. There's Juan Thornhill. There's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Nasir Adderley, Johnathan Abram. So someone's going to fall, but I'm not sure it's going to be Thornhill. One guy that I do think might fall, and this is my dude. I have claimed him as mine. You can get on the hype train with me, but Darnell Savage is my target at 58, unless the Cowboys sign a safety. I liked him a lot at Maryland. I did not think he was going to test this well. A 4.36 40-yard dash, 97th percentile. Yeah, he's a little bit undersized, about 5'11", 200 pounds. We'll round those up. Jumped really well. Had an average 3-cone. That's fine. The dude loves to hit, too. He's fun. And, by the way, guess what? He's got some ball skills to him, too. Producer Brett, take a drink there. If you guys saw him against Texas, you know what I'm talking about. So sign me up for Darnell Savage. I don't know if he's going to be there. I'm not even sure he fits the Chris Richard ideal mode of a safety, but put Savage and Xavier Woods next to each other. First off, a player with the last name Savage, he's going to be great. There's no way he's not going to be anything but a fantastic player in the NFL. So Woods and Savage both can kind of move up and down there. That's a fun duo in the back end at safety. Let's recap then my Cowboys draft targets who tested really well at the NFL Combine. That was the focus point here. Justice Hill, Andy Isabella, and Mecole Hardman are my focal points on offense. Renell Wren, Anthony Nelson on the defensive tackle and defensive line front. At edge, Chase Winovich and Max Crosby. And then a defensive back, Isaiah Johnson, Juan Thornhill, and my boy, Darnell Savage. So do you guys want another Cowboys mock draft? We are in between the Combine and we're in between free agency. So do you guys want one right now? Let us know in the comment section. Type Y for yes, N for no. If we get enough Ys, we'll just stay tuned. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.